The presentation is titled as The Long History of Tehran. To begin with, I'll brief out the abstract so that we know what are we going to look at in the presentation. So Tehran is the capital of city of Iran, which lies in the southern slopes of the Alborz mountain chain. It is located at a very strategic and symbolic place at the intersection of historic east-west Silk Route and north-south trading routes. Earlier, before 1400s, it was a village, and after its decline in the Middle Ages, it grew to become a walled market town. The Shah is the ruler and decision maker of the city, followed by the Prime Minister. Tehran is an old historic city with a medieval urban form, but with the rise of economy, industrialization, and globalization, the city was changed from the lens of a modernist imagery. Several planners, architects, economists formed an organization to draw and develop the city. Second wave of 1860s brought about a radical change in the planning concepts. There were several disputes and problems in the governance, and hence there were different scales and speed of challenges. The 1990s saw a huge vertical expansion across the city. Several well-known architects and planners of the postmodern era, such as Victor Gruen, Doxiadis, and Farman Famian, were involved in the process of master planning of Tehran. A massive urban renewal project was carried out in one of the districts which dealt with rearranging the entire fabric, slum clearance, and making motorways. This reflected an American influence of planning in the city. Therefore, the story of Tehran is a case study of the tensions of modernity and trend of globalization which led to the transformation of city from a historic medieval form to a metropolis and the modern city. Beginning with the Safavid walls of 1500s, here the birth of the city took place and it formed a medieval urban form kind of scenario as we can see it in the plan. Moving on to the Qajar walls, this was the time the expansion of the city took place from all the sides. This began the formation of new wide streets and geometrical walls. The Morvarid or the Pearl Palace in Karaj was made by Frank Lloyd Wright and is a classic example of contemporary architecture in Tehran. Following up with the Villa Namazi, which was again made by a very famous Italian architect of that time, Giovanni Ponti, along with Fausto Melito and Paolo De Poli. The Pahlavi streets of 1930s. This was a period of rapid change with the removal of walls as we can see in the plan. There was a strong centralization of power. A unification of national and urban space was also implemented. The new networks of streets and roads were overimposed on the urban fabric of the city. Also, along with it, the walls were removed as we saw in the previous two plans, and new institutions and landmarks were set up. Damavan College was one such institution which was made by Frank Lloyd Wright, which hold a major significance during those times in Tehran. The Azadi Tower in 1979 was made after the first Iranian Revolution, and it is now called as the Gateway of Iran, whereas the Milad Tower is a convention center, and today it has a lot of restaurants and recreational spaces around it. Both of these mark as a very significant landmarks for the city of Tehran. Here are some of the squares and bazaars from the early 1800s: the Royal Palace, the Citadel, the Bazaar of Tehran, the Square of Zanjan, the Bus Depot, and the Republic. Moving on to the post-war timeline of Iran. So this timeline shows the period from 1943 to 2006 with some of the major incidences that happened during those times. Firstly, starting with the establishment of World Bank and Monetary Fund, which gave rise to the concept of third world cities. Then on, in 1948, the Islamic Revolution started and it went on till 1979. And between the whole period of the revolution, there were major plans that were made by very influential architects and planners. The first 7-year plan was made in 1948, and after that, two 7-year plans were made consequently in 1955 and in 1962. 1968 was a time where one of the most important comprehensive plans were made by the architect Victor Gruen and Farman Famian. We'll talk about that further. So this is the list. This is an image of all the members of the Council of Plan Organization, followed up by a gathering or a discussion on a plan with Feridun Ghaffari in the middle, leading all the other architects and planners. So these are the maps of Tehran from 1956 to 1965. I've put this here to show the growth on how Tehran grew. So between these years, the urban development and the modernization emerged as a political agenda, and the implementation of second and third 7-year plans resulted in unprecedented growth and the construction boom. Specifically, the third-year plan, which was proposed in 1962, linked up 16 comprehensive master plans across the city, resulting into the growth of the city from all directions. Along with this, the concept of comprehensive planning emerged. The Victor Gruen's concept. In 1964, the members of Plan Organization approached Farmanian and Victor Gruen to make a comprehensive plan, the first ever comprehensive plan for Tehran. As we know, Gruen is an Australian American planner and is known as father of shopping malls. His concept for Tehran's plan emerged from the same idea, from a shopping mall to a metropolis. The process was very similar to American post-war planning debates, which focused on resolving urban problems through decentralization and reorganization of the living space. These are again the 5 alternatives with Gruen and Farfranin proposed for the Tehran's urban pattern. So here shown is the diagram of a linear urban structure which was proposed. The series the series here shows a shows different centers to reorient growth and reorder social structures in a linear pattern to reduce the density of the city center. As we saw in the previous plans, the city center was very much dense, and the growth, the urban population was concentrated in a specific center. So this linear structure was proposed so that the city can grow in all the sides. However, the final plan, which was fixed upon, was an amalgamation of the first and the fifth plan, and this is also known as the most influential planning document in the history of Tehran. Here, as you can see, there is a master plan, the final master plan, which was proposed by Victor Gruen and Farmanian in 1968, and it has over 150 kilometers of highway, which was proposed and which enabled the growth of the city towards the west, along with the other sides as well. And this majorly dependent on the private automobiles, and the private automobiles were considered as the primary mode of transport. Hence, this would ultimately result in transforming Tehran into a complete car-centric city. The two images here show the vision of how the architects and the planners imagined or visioned the city to grow. The optimism and the utopian vision of Gruen and Farmanian to produce the ideal city for the modern living and modern transportation somehow had a significant impact on the plan. Tehran's comprehensive plan envisioned a city for the middle and upper class people with no poor population. This shows the growth of Tehran from 1850s to 1970s. As we can see, it was a whole central block earlier, and then it grew out in 1970s till the foot of the Alborz Mountains, which we talked about earlier. The modernist imagery. This is a very strong image, and this is how Victor Gruen's the whole idea, the whole master plan was overimposed on the old urban fabric of the city. The top left black and white image is the earlier plan of the city, how the city was, and this is how the city grew. There were major highways. The city was majorly linked with highways all around, and along with the highways, there were residential high-rise apartments alongside it. And this was a complete modernist approach to transform the city of Tehran at that time. So this is another master plan by a very famous planner called Doxiadis, which was proposed in 1972, and it was called as Tehran Action Plan. However, this never got implemented due to the political agendas, and one of the reasons being the then state prime minister did not like the plan. So it remained as Tehran Action Plan, which was made by Doxiadis. Again, in 1992, the plan organization came up with another 5-year master plan for the city of Tehran. However, again, the state did not approve of this. Therefore, the state themselves came up with a new strategic plan, Tehran 80, which was the first non-physical plan of Tehran. This um, majorly focused on some specific goals and strategies to solve, therefore linking 22 districts of Tehran. As we can see, there are different divisions made, which are the 22 different districts which Tehran had at that time. And this linked all of them together to make a larger master plan, and hence called as strategic plan. So we saw there is a whole shift from the comprehensive method of planning to the strategic method of planning, which over time developed in the city. As we talked about in the brief, there was a massive urban renewal project which was carried out in the district of Tehran. So there was a whole north-south trading axis, a trading highway, which was being built right through the heart of the city, heart of the Nawab district. And Nawab was already a whole urban form, and it was being teared apart by demolition to make highways and residential buildings. These are the images of the demolition and construction process of how the whole demolition and the construction took place in the city. As we can see, the top right image is the built up corridor, which how it looked like after it got built up. And there were several critiques about this particular method of planning and approach of planning. There were lack of boundaries between the highway and residential areas. There were lack of sidewalks, and this whole method of planning gave birth to these insecure places between the buildings where illegal things could happen and used to happen. Also, there were these insufficient neighborhood spaces, unoccupied shops, and deserted spaces which were which was highly left behind on the planning approach. The entire old fabric was worn out, and this regeneration project is one of its kind, because this never got implemented again in any other city, because this was considered as one of the major failures of a planning approach which was carried on in the Nawab district. Then in 2006, another plan comes in, and this sits on the top of existing plans. But again, this did not get implemented because this plan again had a strategy of linking all the districts together. But by then, all the districts already had their master plan, which we saw earlier from the strategic plan which the state came up with. So this kind of stayed as just another strategic master plan of the city and never really moved further. So, with the whole process, what we saw was, in Tehran, there was a major top down and rational treatment which was made by the planners to solve the urban problems of Tehran. And they completely dismissed the dominant presence of different groups. And what they did was they did set up an ambitious, modernist, and functional master plan with a very limited conception of public interest. They wanted to implement the utopic ideas on ground without even addressing the real urban problems. And which is why there was a very forceful kind of planning which was overimposed on the historic old fabric of Tehran. As we can see in these images, how Tehran looks like today, there are these high rise apartments right in the fragments of the old city, which it had earlier, the medieval urban form, which it had earlier. And as we can see, it has now developed more further. It has huge commercial complexes. Even there is a metro in Tehran. It's a metropolis, a modern city now. So that's how the journey of Tehran was. It went through a complete transformation from a medieval urban form to becoming a modern city. Thank you.